We went from a 1-11 season, three seasons in a row of 1-11, to a team that won 4 of our last 5, won our last 3. I think the players are beginning to expect to win games as opposed to just thinking they're going to lose no matter what. And that has to change. That's that culture of losing to a culture of winning. Now, it's nothing dramatic. We're not going to go out there and have the best talent in the roster necessarily this year, talent in the conference this year. We're not going to have the best players in the conference this year. What we have to go out and do is win our share of close ball games. The best we can ask for next year is to have teams that we're probably pretty close to, that we're pretty even to, that if we can go out there and win a close ball game, we'll have a chance to win some games.
You're listening to the WZIP Sports Akron Football pregame show.
And welcome to another edition of the Akron Zips Football Preview Podcast. I'm Ben Jeanette. Alongside me is Jonah Spurndle. And Jonah, today the Zips will host Miami of Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be a barn burner here.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Well, I'll tell you this much. You can't look past an opponent. I've seen a couple teams already do that this year. Pittsburgh looked past Akron. Akron took care of business. I thought last week Akron might look past Eastern Michigan. They come out in the first half. Akron's a little slow getting the game together. I believe they only led 10-7 at half.
Yeah.
And then they came out and took care of business the second half. I don't want to see that start today. I'd like to see them come out, do things a little bit better, clean it up a little bit, take care of business in the first half, and then take care of business again in the second half.
Yeah, and last week, like you were saying, came out a little bit slow. And you have another opponent this week who they're not good. They only have one win, and that was last week, and they barely beat UMass, which might be the worst team in college football. So, of course, they can't overlook them, but it's not looking like it's going to be a tough game this week.
Some things I didn't like about last week, even though we got the big win, I wasn't too impressed with the fact that we went away from the run that worked so well out in Pittsburgh. Connor Hunley had a great performance out there, only touched the ball 12 times, I think, 80-something yards.
Yeah, last week he had 61 yards. But
61 yards. See, I even gave him a little bit more.
On 8 carries. So he averaged over 7 yards a carry and a touchdown.
They need to quit going away from the run.
They
have a dominant run game when they run the ball.
Especially when you're playing teams like Eastern Michigan, like Miami, like UMass.
Run them over.
Just bowl them over. And you're going to pick up yards and you're going to win the game. And I understand if they recognize that these teams have bad pass defenses, that they want to attack that early on. But you looked at the game, the first couple quarters, Kyle Pohl wasn't doing much. They put in Tommy Woodson. He could only do so much in the air. When you're having struggles like that in the first couple series, you got to start running the ball. And in the second half, it started working. They could connect some passes, and they scored 21 points. But
and that's getting a little worrisome that Tommy Woodson's even coming into the game. They keep saying it's an injury Kyle Pohl sustained, but this is twice in a row where Woodson's come into the game.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what exactly is going on. Is Kyle Pohl tweaking his knee? Is Terry Bowden trying to send a message to Kyle Pohl that says, hey, you need to throw the ball a little bit better? Kyle's looked good, and he's looked bad in spurts.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to come out looking great the rest of the way out for them to run the table in the MAC.
And that's kind of always been his MO, that in some games he can come out and look great, and then some games he just looks a little bit lost. He's getting the happy feet in the pocket, and that's always been attributed to him being a young quarterback. He sat pretty much all his freshman year, sophomore year last year. He came out and started every game. And so people have been saying, yeah, he's young, he'll learn. It's the third year now.
Time to learn.
You got to start putting it all together and start leading your team, especially when you have a team with this kind of talent on it around him. They can really start going places now. And you need a quarterback for that.
Their division in the MAC is so wide open that they could take it. Bowling Green is without their quarterback. Now, I'm not saying they could win the MAC because Northern Illinois and those boys on the other side, they're looking tough. But where you sit in the division of this side of the MAC, it's clear pastures.
Yeah, and you look at the rest of the games, this season, and you only have Ball State from the West, I believe.
Yeah.
That's your only West opponent, and they're not what Ball State was last year.
No.
And
then
so
Buffalo ain't Buffalo from last year.
And Bowling Green lost their quarterback,
And
like you said.
OU ain't much.
No, OU's not very good. So easily, I honestly could see them running the table, but they have to come out and play with conviction, play tough, and play their hearts out every game.
And tell you what, one thing that has impressed me is on our short yardage game. You know, putting Cody Grice in there to get those short yards, as Terry Bowden liked to put, it's a Bowden staple. It's called the Wham package.
Yeah. He's a big dude.
He's a big dude,
And he gets it done. So
he gets it done. What are you looking forward to seeing the Zips come out and doing today against Miami?
I think they're going to come out and look well. I think they're going to look good. You break down Miami's offense here, and they got a senior quarterback who pretty much sat 3 years at Notre Dame, transferred last year. He's got almost 1,800 yards, 14 touchdowns on the year, but his completion percentage is only like 50%. Yeah. And it shows you how much Miami's been down. They've had to throw that much in order to get 1,800 yards. It's taken a lot of attempts, and you kind of saw that with Akron 2 years ago. Dalton Williams came in as a transfer in his last year and set records for the Zips, but they only won one game. So yeah, they were throwing a lot. They had scored a lot of points, but they couldn't get it done in the win column. And you look at their running game, not very impressive. And I think that's where the Zips defense really shines now, is they can stop the pass and manage the run really well. So I think they're going to be able to handle this Miami offense.
Take a look at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's supposed to have one of the best running backs, not only in the ACC, but in the entire country. And they limited him. Mm-hmm. They do a very good job at stopping the run, and they do an excellent job at stopping the pass. That Zips defense is a strong defense.
Yeah.
What I want to see is that you got a guy that has a horrible completion percentage. 50%. Get to him, rile him up inside the pocket, and have him make mistakes and have him throw some interceptions. And I'd like to see some pick sixes today.
Yeah, I want to see the offense come out though and do what they did against Howard. I think that's going to set the tone here because Miami can score. They've scored a ton of points. While they've only won one game, they still haven't been blown out as much as some other teams would have been. They only lost by a touchdown at Cincinnati, only a couple touchdowns at Michigan. They can score points.
They can score points,
which is the scary part that you have to watch out for.
But they can't stop anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
And here's the thing that really bothers me is I get when a team is one-dimensional because you don't have the talent at certain positions when you have to be a pass-happy team. I don't understand why the Zips have to be one-dimensional. They're not a one-dimensional team. Just look at when Connor Hundley runs the ball.
Yeah. Not only Connor Hundley, but you have Juwan Chisholm who can also run the ball. You have DJ Jones. You have Akeem Lawrence. You got kind of a stable of running backs, but you just don't run the ball enough to establish anything early on. And then when they can't get yards, you got to switch to the pass.
And that's the thing is like they pass the ball in so many drives and so many plays. Run the ball, set the pass up with the run, and you'll be a dominant team. I would love to see a game where Akron throws, 50 times and runs 50 times out of 100 plays.
And this might be the game. I mean, when you run the ball, you limit time of possession that the other team has, which means it's gonna limit the points that Miami's gonna get. So in order, I think, to dominate this game, you run the ball and you just let your defense go crazy out there.
I agree. So who you taking in this game, Jonah?
I got to go with Akron. Of course, Miami came back from 41 to 14 down, Browns type comeback last week. But I think Akron's just on a different tier in the MAC. So I'm going to go with Akron today. I'm
going with the Zips big. I think Terry's got these guys ready to play in this one. I don't think they're going to come out flat in the first half like they did against Eastern Michigan. I think they're going to lead big at half and then just put the foot on the gas to end the game in the fourth quarter and the third. That'll do it for us right now. For Jonah Spurndle, I'm Ben Jeanette. This has been your Zips pregame podcast.